The absolute worst thing you can do in the morning is also the thing that almost everyone has been taught is the best thing to do. You've heard it your whole life. Never skip breakfast. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And if you want to be healthy, energized, and focused, you're told you must eat as soon as you wake up. But what if that advice is completely wrong? In fact, after decades of believing that breakfast was essential, many people notice that a huge number of their health problems begin to disappear when they stop eating in the morning. And the reason has nothing to do with willpower, calories, or portion sizes. It has everything to do with what's happening inside your body when you wake up. When you go to sleep at night, you stop eating. That means your body enters a natural fasting state. Most people fast for about 10 to 12 hours without even realizing it. During that time, your body doesn't shut down, it doesn't starve. It actually switches into a very powerful internal mode. Your liver begins releasing stored glucose to keep your blood sugar stable. At the same time, your body shifts into repair mode. This is where something extremely important happens: autophagy. Autophagy is the process where your body recycles damaged cells, broken proteins, and dysfunctional components and turns them into new, healthy material. It's like a cleanup crew that works while you're asleep. Your liver is also burning fat during this time, not dietary fat, but stored body fat. This is one of the most efficient fat burning periods of the entire day. And here's the key point: all of this is happening because your insulin levels are low. When you wake up in the morning, your insulin is at the lowest point of the entire 24-hour cycle. This is the most insulin sensitive and most fat burning state your body will be in all day. You are literally in peak metabolic mode. And then most people do the worst possible thing: they eat. The moment you eat, you shut down autophagy, you shut down fat burning, you shut down the liver's repair process. You basically tell your body, stop cleaning, stop healing, stop burning fat. It's time to store energy again. This is why breakfast can be one of the most damaging habits for people who struggle with fat loss, energy crashes, brain fog, inflammation, or insulin resistance. Now, some people think, okay, but I eat healthy breakfast. I don't eat junk. I eat eggs and bacon. And yes, eggs and bacon are low carb. And compared to most breakfasts, that's definitely better. At least you're not spiking blood sugar with sugar and flour. But even protein alone still stimulates insulin. Other people eat fruit and cheese. They think it's light and natural. Or they drink smoothies, thinking it's the healthiest thing they can do. But fruit, even though it's natural, still contains sugar. Smoothies often contain large amounts of hidden sugar, especially from bananas, berries, honey, or juice. Even small amounts of carbohydrates in the morning are enough to stimulate insulin and stop fat burning, but none of these even come close to the worst offender of all: the classic all-American breakfast. This includes sweetened yogurt, orange juice, apple juice, sweetened cereals, pancakes, waffles, muffins, toast with jam, hash browns, Pop-Tarts, and coffee loaded with sugar and cream. This is a perfect recipe for metabolic disaster. This type of breakfast creates a massive blood sugar spike first thing in the morning. And when blood sugar spikes, insulin follows. Not just a little, a lot. Now your liver is completely knocked out of fat burning mode. Your body switches into fat storage mode. You've already programmed your metabolism for the entire day, and it's not in your favor. This is what sets up the blood sugar roller coaster. You feel okay for a short time, then you crash. You get tired. You get hungry again, you crave more carbs, you reach for snacks, and the cycle repeats every few hours. Some people try to balance this by adding protein. They think, as long as I eat protein with my carbs, it's fine. And yes, protein does slightly slow down the rise in blood sugar. But here's the problem most people don't understand: protein still spikes insulin. In fact, when you combine protein and carbohydrates, you create a double insulin response. Blood sugar might look more stable on the surface, but insulin in the background is skyrocketing. This is dangerous because insulin is not just a blood sugar hormone. Insulin is a fat storage hormone. It's also an inflammation hormone. It's a sodium retention hormone. It's an appetite hormone. High insulin shuts off fat burning completely. It forces your body to store fat. It turns your liver into a fat-making factory. This is exactly how fatty liver develops. High insulin also causes your body to retain sodium and water. This is why people feel bloated, puffy, and swollen. You might even notice pitting edema where you press on your skin and it leaves a dent. Insulin also triggers hunger. The higher your insulin, the more hungry you become, even if you just ate. This is why people can eat a huge breakfast and feel hungry again 2 hours later. And insulin drives inflammation. It increases visceral fat around the organs, especially in the gut. This is the most dangerous type of fat because it's directly linked to heart disease, diabetes, fatty liver, and metabolic syndrome. What makes this even worse is that in the early stages, blood sugar can look normal. You might test your glucose and think everything is fine. But insulin is already very high behind the scenes. This is called hyperinsulinemia, and it comes years before diabetes. By the time blood sugar finally rises, the damage has already been happening for a long time. The liver is fatty. The cells are insulin resistant. The pancreas is exhausted, and the metabolism is completely broken. And it all starts with one simple habit that people repeat every single morning without questioning it. High insulin doesn't just affect blood sugar and fat storage. It also causes the retention of iron in the body, and this is a huge problem for the liver. Excess iron acts like rust inside your tissues. It creates oxidative stress and inflammation, and the liver takes the biggest hit. Over time, This inflammation can damage liver cells and interfere with normal detoxification, hormone balance, and fat metabolism. Another major issue is that high insulin bumps you out of ketosis. Ketosis is the state where your body is burning fat and producing ketones for energy. This is the most stable and efficient fuel system your body has. But the moment insulin goes up, fat burning shuts off. Now your body becomes dependent on refined glucose again. Sugar becomes your main fuel instead of fat. So what happens next? If you eat a sweet, carb-heavy breakfast, your body now needs more sugar just to function. A few hours later, you feel low energy, shaky, or foggy. So you grab a little snack, maybe a cookie, a granola bar, a piece of fruit, or a sweet drink. Then lunchtime comes and the cycle repeats. High carbs, high insulin, temporary energy, then another crash. This creates a vicious loop that can go on for decades. Because of constant inflammation, the liver starts developing fibrosis. Fibrosis is scar tissue. It's basically the liver trying to heal itself from repeated damage. At first, it's mild. Then it becomes more severe. This can progress into fatty liver disease, insulin resistance, and in serious cases, cirrhosis. Insulin also affects hormones in a very powerful way. High insulin increases androgens. In women, this often leads to polycystic ovarian syndrome. Symptoms include irregular periods, acne, facial hair, and difficulty losing weight. In men, high insulin increases DHT, which is linked to hair loss and prostate enlargement. So you start seeing baldness, urinary problems, and hormonal imbalance, all driven by the same root cause, insulin. Then there's the daily energy crash. After lunch, you feel tired, you want a nap, your brain feels slow. Around mid-afternoon, you need another snack just to make it to dinner. Then at night, you want something sweet again. Ice cream, dessert, or late night snacks. Then you go to bed and wake up the next morning and start the entire cycle again. But here's where it gets even worse. Over time, you develop insulin resistance. That means your cells stop responding properly to insulin, so the body has to produce even more of it. Now, insulin stays high all day and all night. This affects your kidneys and your bladder. At night, you start waking up to pee 3 times, 5 times. Some people wake up 10 or even 15 times a night. Just imagine what that does to your energy, focus, mood, and hormones the next day. Chronic sleep disruption destroys your metabolism, increases cortisol, raises blood sugar, and accelerates aging. And most people never connect their nighttime urination to insulin and food. Now let's talk about cortisol. Refined carbs and sugar increase cortisol, your main stress hormone. This puts your body in fight or flight mode. You're no longer in a calm, relaxed, healing state. You're in survival mode. This increases anxiety, irritability, tension, and mental fatigue. Your nervous system becomes overstimulated, your digestion slows down, your immune system weakens. So now you're dealing with high insulin, high cortisol, high inflammation, hormonal imbalance, poor sleep, and constant hunger, all from the way you eat, starting with breakfast. So what is the best breakfast for liver health? Nothing, no breakfast at all. Skipping breakfast is one of the most powerful things you can do for your metabolism, your brain, your hormones, and your liver. When you eat only 2 meals a day with no snacks and keep your carbs low, your body is forced to burn fat. It shifts into ketosis naturally. Now you're running on ketones instead of sugar. Ketones are a clean fuel. They stabilize energy, reduce inflammation, suppress appetite, and improve brain function. You're no longer dependent on the next meal. You can easily go from one meal to the next without being hungry. You can eat dinner, sleep through the night, wake up, and feel perfectly fine without eating. No shakiness, no crashes, no cravings. Then you eat your first meal around lunchtime and your second meal in the evening. That's it. This is how the human body is designed to function. At first, you might not be able to go straight to skipping breakfast. That's okay. Start by removing carbs first. Get rid of cereals, bread, juice, sugar, and snacks. Then ask yourself in the morning, am I actually hungry or am I just eating out of habit? Most of the time, you'll realize you're not truly hungry. You're just used to eating. So you push breakfast a little later, maybe 1:30, then 11:30, then 20:30. Eventually, breakfast becomes lunch. This simple change can transform your entire health. Fat comes off the liver, inflammation drops. Scar tissue begins to reverse, hunger disappears between meals. Belly fat melts away, mental clarity improves. Mood stabilizes, energy becomes steady instead of chaotic. Even brain function improves. Focus sharpens, memory improves, anxiety reduces. You feel more calm, more in control, and more balanced. This isn't about starving yourself. It's about letting your body do what it's already programmed to do: burn fat, repair cells, and regulate hormones. Out of all the lifestyle changes you can make, eliminating breakfast is one of the most powerful and one of the easiest. If this information helped you understand your body better, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss future videos like this. And definitely share this with someone who still thinks breakfast is the most important meal of the day. It might completely change their health.